It would be terribly difficult for me to try to narrow down a favorite game or console from my childhood. Over the years of my young life, I had access to anything from Atari and the Commodore 64 to the NES and future generations beyond that. That being said, I would have to take pause and appreciate the Super Nintendo. That particular generation is what really pulled me into gaming, and I recall many fond memories and games that I loved during that era. One such game was Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, a game that remains one of my favorites of all time. I spent many hours with Link to the Past and played through it countless times, a true favorite among the Super Nintendo's catalog of games. So it goes without saying that when a game like Tunic comes along, I take notice. Tunic is an action-adventure game developed in the Unity engine by indie developer Andrew Schultes and published by Fenji. The fact that this game is made by one guy is all the more impressive. Tunic is a love letter to classic Zelda games through and through. Players will wake up alone in a strange world wearing a green tunic, though you aren't the all-too-familiar blonde-haired, pointy-eared elf boy this time around. Instead, players will find themselves playing as a cute little fox character. Much like classic Zelda games, Tunic drops you into the world with little information to guide you, trusting in your ability to make discoveries and problem solve to progress. Also, not unlike the classics, you will need to discover new items that allow you to overcome obstacles that you previously could not, and open up the world further for progression toward the end goal. Along the way, you'll encounter many different types of enemies to vanquish, each with their own characteristics and attack patterns. Something you'll need to familiarize yourself with in Tunic because the combat is one factor that stands apart from games like Link to the Past. In Tunic, combat is much more similar to games developed by From Software, whose recent release Elden Ring mirrors the same variety of combat, requiring you to learn your enemy's patterns and dodge to avoid damage while positioning yourself for an opportune attack. The combat is challenging for sure, but as you become more familiar with the required tactics to best each foe in battle, you can also begin leveling up your attack, defense, and HP stats at various shrines that also refill your health and potions at the sacrifice of resurrecting any fallen foes you may have defeated, much like Sites of Grace in Elden Ring. Throughout the game world, you'll encounter various biomes, dungeons, and bosses, though navigating the world of Tunic can be quite challenging in itself. Hidden passages are everywhere and treasures are abundant, though sometimes not attainable, without some head scratching as you try to figure out how to get a chest that may be just out of reach. Sometimes this may be just a matter of looking closer for a path that may not be perfectly visible. Other times, you'll need to return with an item that grants you a new ability to reach these new areas. It's important to keep your eyes peeled and make note of where chests or pathways are in these instances, so you can double back later with the proper means to access them. To aid you on your adventure, sheets of paper can be found throughout the world that, when obtained, unlock new pages of an in-game guide that is very much in the style of the old instruction manuals that came with games way back in the Dark Ages. I absolutely love this detail. Seriously, if you didn't grow up in this era, you'll just have to trust me when I say you're missing out. Some of the manuals that came with games back then were just so cool. And just like those manuals, the in-game guide that you collect and assemble on your way through Tunic features not only maps and helpful info, but some pretty incredible artwork as well. My one big critique with Tunic, however, is how often certain mechanics or functions of certain items can be unclear. This frustration is often subsided once you find the right page of the in-game guide, however, so again, keep your eyes peeled for these as you play. Not only do these act as a functional collectible item in the game, it gets you excited when you see a new page, wondering what new artwork and information may be contained within. It's not a groundbreaking feature by any means, but the execution and detail here is commendable. I love this design choice. Slight frustrations with locating them when I could really use them aside. Well done. At the time of writing this, I've put a handful of hours into Tunic and I've been enjoying every minute of it. I was previously familiar with the title and was aware it was coming soon, but to have it shadow dropped and as a day one release on Game Pass was definitely a treat. One that truly caught me by surprise because Tunic is just so damn good. If you have Game Pass, this one is a no-brainer, and even if you don't, if you hold an affinity for the classic Zelda games as I do yourself a favor and pick this one up on Xbox or PC. Tunic is truly a pleasant surprise early on in 2022, one that I look forward to continuing my playthrough of and will certainly be making a point to finish. For those looking to scratch that classic Zelda itch or anyone looking for something fresh in the action-adventure genre, I highly recommend Tunic. So there it is. I hope you enjoyed today's quick look at Tunic. Obviously, I've been enjoying the game, but what about you? Have you played Tunic? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the game in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, dropping a like would mean a lot to me, and it's a great way of supporting the content. And if this is your first time watching and you'd like more, be sure to subscribe and join us right back here next week for more discussions on movies and gaming just like this. And I just want to take a moment to thank you all for the incredible support on last week's video, and welcome all the new faces who subscribe to the channel. My Batman video has set new channel records, and I truly appreciate that. Thank you guys. That's all for now though. I hope you have a wonderful day, and until next time, you take care out there, friends. I'll see you soon.